So today I am excited to welcome Alejandro, an biotech entrepreneur who is doing pioneering work at the intersection of plant biology, biotechnology, and alternative proteins. Alejandro currently is the CEO and co-founder of Ergo Bioscience, and a startup who is producing complex animal protein via plant cell cultivation. So Alejandro, it's great to have you here. To start, could you please tell me a bit about yourself, your journey, and how did you get this idea to start this company?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. My background is in biotechnology. I study biotechnology here in Argentina. After my master degree, I decided to apply for a PhD in the Golden Mines University in the US. I spent 3 beautiful years in Colorado making
Mhm,
academic research, working in precision fermentation in general with microbes, yeast. After my PhD, I have worked for several years in different biotech companies, mid-size, mostly related with food application, and always in relation with bioprocess optimization, bioprocess scaling up.
mhm,
And then in 2018, for personal reasons, I decided to come back to Argentina. And I started to work in one biotech company based here, called Diagrama. In that moment, one of my mission was to make a deep research on the state of the art, let's say, on
mhm,
precision fermentation in general, globally, trying to understand what was the position of the different verticals uh, qualified as a precision fermentation platforms. So I
mhm,
study very in details companies working with mammalian cells, with yeast, with micro, with fungi. And in that moment, I found different academic groups working with plant cell cultivation.
mhm,
And I personally think that I always had this like entrepreneur mindset, trying to, let's say, I found my passion always trying to identify what were the potential gaps that the technology in which I was working in that moment can solve or can cover.
mhm,
And I immediately identify in the plant cell cultivation a lot of potential because it's a very flexible platform. You can express recombinant protein, but at the same time, you can produce vegetal ingredients in much more efficiency than traditional agriculture.
mhm,
So, um, in parallel, in that period of time, I casually met an old colleague from the university
mhm,
who in that moment was working in one of the main early stage venture capitals based here in Argentina. And in a casual conversation, we started to exchange these potential ideas, potential business, potential technologies. And he invited me to join this early stage venture capital,
mhm,
who actually they are more like a company builder, right? They identify scientifics with a, business mindset, and then they encourage them to transfer this potential idea into real business, and
mhm,
they offer to early stage entrepreneur the resources they need to verify if the idea they had can be actually potential global business. So when when I found that context, I decided immediately to quit my job. I
mhm,
understood that was my opportunity to jump into the entrepreneur world. So I started to work 100% on the business model, trying to understand if certainly plant cell culturing could be a potential startup. And
mhm,
after 2 years of very intensive work, building up my founding team, trying to make the first technical validation. We present Ergo Bioscience to the venture capital, and in 2021 we received our pre-seed investment.
Mm-hmm.
So from 2021 to now, working every day as a CEO and entrepreneur in
Okay.
Ergo.
So you have a very good journey. So,
Yeah.
what does this Ergo Bioscience do? What problem do you mainly solve?
Okay. Um, well, in Ergo Bioscience, we are working on plant cell cultivation. First
Mm-hmm.
of all, we need to understand the notion that plant cells can grow in suspension media culture just like yeast or microbe, just
Mm-hmm.
duplicate themselves, generating large amount of vegetal biomass in very short time. And we can basically apply these tools to produce two kind of ingredients. The
Mm-hmm.
first kind of ingredients are ingredients based on recombinant protein. This means that we use plants as a host to express proteins that they doesn't express naturally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can use this notion to produce animal protein, but from a vegetal source. So therefore, we have cell lines producing myoglobin and casein for plant-based food application. So in those cases, the solution that we are covering is the capability to um, produce animal proteins, but in a scalable and competitive way. Um, the second kind of ingredient that we can produce are ingredients based on vegetal metabolites like cocoa, citrus essential oil, fragrance, flavor. And the solution that we can cover with this application are basically two. One is we can solve uh, constraints that the food industry is facing
Mm-hmm.
because the limitation of the traditional agriculture. Traditional agriculture works very well for extensive crops, but for other kind of crops in which the plant takes years to grow and the metabolite accumulation is very low, the cost is very higher, and they need
Mm-hmm.
a lot of surface to produce the ingredient industrially. But by using plant cell cultivation, we can take cells from those crops and we can grow them inside bioreactor, obtaining the functional ingredients in term
Mm-hmm.
of days. And in addition, we can engineerize the plant cells in order to overexpress the compounds that we need. So um, and the second problem that, let's say, the second limitation that we can solve is that is to expand the biodiversity of ingredients for industry. In nature, we have 400,000 of plant species, each of
Mm-hmm.
them producing fatty acids, antioxidant, polyphenols that can be functional for
Mm-hmm.
different industry. But the truth is that we are just cultivating 200 to supply ingredients to the whole industry. This is 0.05%.
Mm-hmm.
So we are leaving a massive amount of biodiversity untouched. With plant cell cultivation, we can take cells from any plant species in nature. We can grow them inside bioreactor, producing the target compounds that we need for different industries.
Okay. So, in the start, when you started this company, did you face any difficulty when you started this? Like, how did you tackle it?
Yeah, of course. When you start um, deep tech, when you start
Mm-hmm.
any kind of entrepreneur project, but even more when you start a deep tech entrepreneur project, you have a lot of questions, even more if you have not experience on corporates or private equity venture capital, because the main goal of a deep tech
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur project is to multiply the value of your company in 10x or even more. So you need to understand very quickly that your goal is to be global and to produce a deep impact in the industry. And in addition, you don't have much time. In the moment that you receive your initial ticket, times flies.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to resolve problems very quickly. So my recommendation there is to receive, I mean, is to build up your cap table with early
Mm-hmm.
stage venture capitals that can offer you not just the money, but also the knowledge or the context that allow us to think more in the technology and leaving to them the things more related with legals, financials. Of course, you need to have your own financial team, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, for sure you will need support from people that has passed through this journey before in order to achieve your goals in the time you need it.
Mm-hmm. So let's say if an startup who is in very early stage and that is working in the same domain you are working. So do you have any advice for that startup?
For a startup, what working in what?
In the same domain you are working.
Oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, a lot of suggestions. First of all, pay attention to your IP because
Mhm.
in early stage, even more for a deep tech startup, it's normal that you have not revenues and you won't have revenues at least for a couple of years. And that is perfectly acceptable for a early stage venture capital.
Mhm.
But venture capitals want to be sure that you are unique and you have and it's even more important that you secure that you will be unique in the next couple of years. And the most strong strategy to cover that is through IP. So
Mhm.
to be to build up a strong IP, it's very relevant. Then the the synergy of the funding team, it's also very relevant. Um, to understand that you will need not just people with experience on the technology, but also on the strategy and the
Mhm.
business. Um, my recommendation is don't fall in love of your initial idea.
Mhm.
Um, uh, your initial idea needs to be in in review situation almost every day.
Mhm.
Um, venture capitals actually loves to hear that you had an initial idea, but then you understand something and you decided and you and your team had the flexibility to adapt to a specific situation
Mhm.
uh, to resolve these limitations. Um, and then you need to be very strong on your personal psychology. I mean, as an entrepreneur, we fail every day.
Yes.
And just to give you an example, for our seed fundraising round,
Mhm.
I had interview with more than 100 venture capitals, and
Okay.
the finally just four decided to invest in Ergo. So
Mhm.
this means more than 96 venture capitals that says no, and even some of them says no more than once. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of to be entrepreneur means a lot of frustration that you don't have time to waste time trying to understand why you need to wake up the next day and start again, trying to overcome all these situations. So yeah, that are my recommendations.
Okay. So when any startup reaching out for funding, like to a venture capitalist, so do you find any problem? Like, is there any problem if any startup is connecting with venture capital? Did you find any such problem that can be, avoided?
Um, let's see. There are different kind of venture capitals.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I didn't find two similar venture capitals. Each of them has their own investment thesis.
Mm-hmm.
They specialize on not just in the stage and not just in different segment, but also in the way in which they prefer to invest.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's no easy to have or to obtain this intuition about who makes uh, different kind of investment. So my suggestion is um, try to use accelerators. Accelerators are
Okay,
or
100 plus accelerator, I think the name.
well, accelerators are very early stage venture capitals
Okay.
that
Mm-hmm.
some of them even offer very small tickets.
Okay.
But in addition, they are accelerators because they offer not just private equity, but also like um, capacitation. It's
Mm-hmm.
like an MBA in vivo, like in 6 month MBA. And accelerators used to be focused on different fields. So you have food tech accelerators, med tech accelerators, and fintech accelerators, and
Mm-hmm.
they can all they are used to be connected with follow-up investors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the business of an accelerator is that other investors comes after them and put additional money in the project. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, if you pass through an acceleration program, you will have not just the knowledge and the money, but also the networking that can open to you the doors for the next fundraising round.
Okay. So have you heard of this name, venture clienting? I've come across few weeks back.
Venture
Clienting.
clienting. No, I never heard that term.
So venture clienting is something where big corporation, like very big corporation in food tech or beverages, they funds small startups and they funds to do everything like from R&D to making the products, and they become the client of that startup. They start buying the product.
Oh,
So yes, so
yeah,
there
it's the
are.
corporate venture capitals. Yeah,
Okay, yes.
yeah. I know them by the name of corporate venture capitals. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah. It's a very trending mode of work
Mm-hmm.
for huge corporates, huge global corporates. They
Mm-hmm.
open these venture capitals first to be aware about new technologies developed by startups around the world. So they are all the time scouting
Mm-hmm.
um,
Different
startups
startups.
and
Mm-hmm.
technologies. Um, Corporate venture capitals used to have advantage and disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage is that if they trust to you, is because they already validate that your technology can be works can work for their internal product portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a first stage for a potential M&A in the future. M&A, it's the acquisition of the company by another company.
Completely.
So if you think that your solution fits perfectly with a huge uh, corporate venture capital, it's a good option. That is the
Mm-hmm.
advantage. The disadvantage is that they used to invest in you once they have 100% validated the notion that your technology works for them, right? And that is not easy to achieve because um, it's very likely that you will need a lot of time to achieve the scale that a huge global company needs to supply an ingredient or a product
Mm-hmm.
or a technology. So it's a good strategy, even more if you're thinking on M&A
Mm-hmm.
or exit strategy. But I won't focus just in corporate venture capital in an early stage. It's more
Okay.
for Series A, Series B.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, what are the application areas of your products mainly? Like, how and where can we use it?
Okay, yeah, our initials were 100% focused on food industry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was because in 2021, in our really beginning, um, recombinant proteins for food was very trending. We found the first recombinant protein in food application in the US, like the lehemoglobin in the burgers of Impossible Food,
Mm-hmm.
or casings for plant-based cheese, or even startups like Every, making egg protein by yeast fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
So was very trending in that moment. We developed cell lines producing myoglobin for plant-based meat, casings for whipped creams application.
Mm-hmm.
Those cell lines has been already licensing to multinational companies based in the US. And then we started to work also with this second kind of ingredients I mentioned before, ingredients more based on vegetal ingredients, vegetal metabolites. We started to work with the cocoa for chocolate production.
Mm-hmm.
Cocoa industry is facing a lot of challenge because of the yield and the difficulties to produce it
Produce.
by traditional agriculture, and also because of the climate situation. So, for instance, cocoa price has doubled this year. So, global cocoa and chocolate industries are trying to identify alternatives to produce cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
We are working with one of the biggest chocolate companies based in Europe
Mm-hmm.
with the cocoa cell line. And then we are working with citrus for citrus essential oil. In
Okay.
the case of the citrus, during the last year, a new disease appears called citrus greening and has cut the citrus essential oil yield over a 30%. So global producers are also trying to identify alternatives. Citrus is very widely used across different industries. Coca-Cola, for example, formula
Mm-hmm.
contains citrus
Yes.
essential oil. So it's a very key ingredient for food industry. And most recently this year, we are starting to work in other industrial segment, trying to develop cell lines for personal care application, even
Mm-hmm.
for pharmaceutical. There are around 50 ingredients um, approved by FDA as a therapeutic for very specific disease, which are tremendous expensive because they are components that currently the industry purify from specific flowers that grow just in the south of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the yields are very low. So if you can unlock this potential for pharmaceutical and we can start to produce those compounds by plant cell cultivation, the potential there is huge. Uh, so yeah, we are starting to explore also application in other areas different than food.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, how do you differentiate yourself from other competitors in the market?
Okay, it's a very good question. There are different companies working with plant cell cultivation.
Mm-hmm.
Just to mention, Ayana Bio in the US, California Culture, Celeste Bio based in Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and our main differentiation with them is related with the technology and the business model.
Okay.
All those companies are startups working on plant cell cultivation, but focus on one specific solution.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Celeste Bio, it's focused on vanilla. Um, California Culture is focused on cacao.
Mm-hmm.
Ayana Bio is more focused on antioxidant for nutraceutic or supplement application.
Okay.
In our case, our core know-how or our key differentiator is um, the tools we use to engineerize the plant cells. And this is not just related with one specific cell line or one specific application, is broader. I mean, we can even offer our services to these kind of companies working in plant cell cultivation in order to improve the yield. And our vision is to democratize plant cell cultivation. So we are not an ingredient producer or an ingredient supplier.
Mm-hmm.
We develop customized cell line, and then we transfer them to global companies with the capacity and the infrastructure to take them and bring it to the market globally, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
we are more like a R&D services company.
Okay. So you have a broad kind of portfolio. You're not focused on single something.
Yeah, that is the strategy that we decided to take a couple of years ago. And this is a clear example about what I mentioned in the beginning, that investors loves to hear that your initial proposal was once, and then
Mm-hmm.
you decide to adapt. Um, yeah, our business model, first of all, allow us to de-risk the company, because if for any reason cocoa or citrus essential oil uh, the situation changed because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, the yields start to be higher again and the price of the cocoa goes down, then Ergo doesn't depend of just one industry.
Yes.
And the second is that allow us to capture a higher value of the potential market, right? Because um, our, let's say, revenue model is based on two phases. On the
Mm-hmm.
phase one, we propose to our customers to engage on what we call the foundries, which are very small upfront payment that allow
Mm-hmm.
us to cover the variable cost of the R&D, and it's a very insignificant investment for them. So by this way, we can start several R&D projects in parallel. And then once we have the cell line developed and once our customers prove that we can obtain the yields they are expecting, then we can be partners on the revenue generation through royalty agreements or
Mm-hmm.
success fee. But by this way, we can capture a higher value of the potential of our technology.
Okay. So what are the future plans for this company, like 5 to 10 years from now?
Well, we are now on Series A fundraising. So if you have some money, we are
Mhm.
we are open to we are open to talk. Um, Now our mission now is to expand this business model to other segment. All the
Mhm.
work that I mentioned to you, we started to do in personal care, pharmaceutical, veterinary, even CTech. It's in the really beginning. We are making the first technological validation, but our expectation is to close our Series A. And
Mhm.
with these funds, we will be in condition to expand first our commercial or business development team. We have headquarters in Argentina, but also in Canada. So we want to strengthen our core team,
Mhm.
and then keep generating innovation in different fields, but always in relation with plant cell cultivation.
Okay. So maybe someone watched this podcast and maybe he or she will help you out after, he'll find the
Yeah,
perfect startup and you'll find the perfect investor.
yeah. We should put the bank account in the below part. Put the money here. Put the
They
money
can
here.
directly transfer the money.
Yeah.
Okay, Alejandro, it was great talking to you. It was indeed an insightful session. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the conversation. If any entrepreneur hear this podcast and wants to contact me, feel free to do it in LinkedIn or
Mhm.
any social network. And we are here to help. So thank you very much for this opportunity.